Hello and welcome to the Weather Lounge here at WeatherWorks. I'm your host, meteorologist Brad Miller, and I would like to thank you so very much for joining us here at our podcast headquarters. In the Weather Lounge, we'll feature a wide range of weather topics and just chat about it with other meteorologists and guests of the show. And we'll even add in our own personal weather experiences along with some tasty tidbits and fun facts. So without further ado, joining me here in the Weather Lounge is my colleague and co-host, meteorologist Mike Mahola. Come on down, Mike.
You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
I was a game show host in my earlier days, but
Yeah, did you have
how
that like
about
little
this?
skinny
Yeah.
mic too with the like Bob
Yeah.
Barker?
Bob Barker on the Price is Right. Yeah, but how about this? Our first podcast, and
Yeah, it's
um,
great. Finally
I'm
getting it off
excited.
the ground.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
excited.
am excited, and like you kind of said in your intro, I mean, we're gonna have a good time here with this
Hmm.
podcast. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be educational about weather. It's gonna be useful topics about weather too, because we're gonna relate that to your job and your business and how it affects those operations, and also
Yep.
maybe some things that you go on with your daily life. Because, like you said before, Brad, everybody's affected by weather. I know you've said that plenty of times.
Yeah, I mean it's the one thing. I mean, I don't care where you live around the world. I mean, it's probably one of the first questions you ask yourself, or ask someone else. What's the weather gonna be like today? Or you check out your app, and you dress yourself obviously based on what the weather's gonna be like, or you're headed outside to do some activities. You got some fun with the kids coming up, or you're working outside. All this is gonna depend upon the weather, and our life is kind of based around what's gonna happen weather-wise, especially again if you have plans outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about what we do with our company WeatherWorks that we work for, I mean, we try to help clients perform their jobs better based on the weather information we provide for them. So that's what we're here for. Our clients can range from contractors to landscapers to stadiums to sports teams to road departments and schools.
Mm,
All different kinds of clients are getting WeatherWorks forecasts, and that's what we do. We do our best job to help them be a bit more efficient.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's wintertime especially. I mean, that's our real busy time of the year. And like you said, road crews and DPWs, school districts. We're on the phone with them. They're making
mhm.
big decisions. 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning because they got to plan their day, and schools even they got to decide whether they're going to have a delay or they're going to have
Mhm.
a day off from school because of wintry weather and early dismissals, things like that. So it's a business that's been going on for a long time, and we've have a
Mhm.
great forecasting crew, a bunch of great meteorologists, and
Yeah.
like I said, this podcast is going to serve a great purpose, I think, towards that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we're up to 30 meteorologists now or more. It might be, we started back in 1986 in our CEO Frank Lombardo's basement. I think you know a little bit about Frank, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, it's a funny story. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey, and before television had school delays and school
Wait, you were before
closings.
television? Is that
Well,
you
no.
were a kid
All right,
before
let me rephrase
television?
that. I'm not that old. Let's rephrase that. Before they had school closings and delays on television, as you do
Okay.
now. You go and watch and see if your kid has school or not. But they used to do it over the radio, and a popular station for that was WCTC in New Brunswick. And they would do all the school closings, very early in the morning. And Frank Lombardo was one of the meteorologists that they depended upon for the forecast. And then they, of course, had the school delays and school closings after that. But yeah, it's back then I'm thinking, oh, Frank Lombardo, okay, yeah, it's the guy I listened to. But then, funny story, years later, I ended up working for WeatherWorks, where is owned by Frank Lombardo. So same
Okay.
person, and just funny how life works sometimes. But you know what, Mike? Nobody knows who Brad and Mike are from WeatherWorks here in the Weather Lounge.
No, you're absolutely right. I was just thinking that myself. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, everybody's out there thinking, hearing these two guys talk about
yeah.
weather, and who the heck are these guys anyway? So I think it's a good idea for the second half here. of our
Hmm.
podcast, let's introduce ourselves. What our background is. What our education is, and how long
Sure.
we've been at WeatherWorks and all that. So that's what we'll do. So hey guys, stick with us. We'll be back right after the break. Hey everybody, how many times have you been burned by a weather forecast? Well, there's probably been a few, and it might have cost your business thousands. WeatherWorks is different. We have over 30 meteorologists to give you forecasts, notifications, and even weather advice 24/7. That could certainly help when it comes down to those crucial decisions. But there's even more products we offer, from data to historical reports. Call us at 908-850-8600 or visit us on the web at weatherworksinc.com. And oh, don't forget, when you think weather, think WeatherWorks.
And welcome back to the Weather Lounge here at WeatherWorks. And joining me again today on our first podcast from WeatherWorks is Mike Maholick. And Mike, again, the weather is, like we said before, something that affects everyone every single day. WeatherWorks has been around now for what, 30 years or so, 35 years almost?
Oh yeah, since 1986, so long time, and I've been there for 12 years
Yep.
of those, so pretty
You trained me
long.
well, Mike.
I trained
I'm
you.
on my fifth year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's interesting the path that I took to get to WeatherWorks, though,
Hmm.
because it's funny that a lot of the people who we deal with on a daily basis at WeatherWorks, I actually are landscapers
Yeah.
and in the snow and ice industry. They're in construction, all those types of things, and I've actually had a lot of experience in that before being hired at WeatherWorks as a
Right.
meteorologist. I actually, was a landscaper for, oh man, might have been like 10 plus years. Starting in high school, I was landscaping. I even tried to start my own business for a little while
Hmm.
in landscaping. And, I've also in the winter been plowing.
Sure.
Um, so,
And I'm sure several
um,
times you said, "Boy, I wish I had a product like WeatherWorks," and you didn't have
oh
it at the
man, I'll
time.
tell you. Well, it's not.
WeatherWorks was there, but yeah.
I'm trying to think back to, when I was doing that, it was probably 2003, 4, somewhere in there. And I was trying to look at radar on a old flip
Oh
phone
yeah.
razor type thing, and I'm going, this is terrible. I can't get it to update. And I was thinking to myself, if I only had something better, or if I could only call somebody and
Hmm.
talk to them about what the weather is going to be like, it'd be so much better. Or if I could even, call my wife at home and say, "Hey, look at the
Yeah.
radar for me," something like that. But
And that's one of the great things that we offer at WeatherWorks. Is the customer is allowed to call in 24 hours
right,
a day, 7 days a week. They can same thing. And granted, everyone's got radar most likely on
mm,
their phone these days and things like that.
yeah,
But it's nice to actually be able to talk to a meteorologist and say, hey, what's going on with this area, or when's
no,
this snow going to
absolutely,
start? So again, those are kind of the products that we offer and services we offer at WeatherWorks, and it's just again, it goes hand in hand with, like you
yeah.
said, a lot of landscapers and snow plowers and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, how many times I was sitting in a plow truck and I was just saying, God, it is still snowing hard. Should I start pushing this parking lot off yet? Like, what do I do? And I had no other guidance other than what the
Right.
radio was telling me, or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, just to be able to call somebody and say, hey, man, you got about 2 more hours left of this, that would be huge.
Yeah, sure.
Back
Up
in,
to the minute.
when I
Yep.
was working in that field. So, and the other thing is that actually after the landscaping, I went into township inspection.
Hmm.
So I was watching, people paving, which are also part of the clientele in WeatherWorks. I
Sure.
was watching the contractors put in storm drains and things like that. And weather is a big deal when
Yep.
it comes to that. I mean, you can't pave if it's raining
Right.
out, obviously. I mean, everybody, obviously the people who listen to this know that. But you know, eh, the water, it can get into the base of the roadway. It can kind of make it real squishy when they try to roll it. It just
Yeah,
doesn't
and then
work,
and
and
then
then
and
the
then when you can't
breaks
do that,
apart.
or if something goes wrong while you're paving, I mean,
Yeah,
that's a lot of taxpayer money that is now down the
exactly.
drain, so to
Or
speak. No
I
pun
mean,
intended.
it's crazy. And there's times when there had trucks lined up, 10
Hmm.
trucks of asphalt lined up, ready to pave, and the base of the road is no good because it had just rained a ton, and they can't do it, and they have to send them back, or rain's coming in.
Sure.
And you know with us here at WeatherWorks, I mean, to help them with that, say, look, man, you're going to be raining the second half of the day. Don't start that paving project right now. I mean, that's huge. That saves them so much money, because
Sure.
if you have to send 10 trucks of asphalt back,
Hmm. And not only that, the man hours that are wasted for
yeah,
certain things that
absolutely.
can't get done. And yeah, it's great that's why having a private
Yeah,
weather company work for you
yeah.
is and we've talked about this, and you talk about the private weather industry. You talk about the National Weather Service is there. That's a government
Hmm.
industry. Now, I was on the other side of things. I was actually
Hmm.
in TV for quite a while, both in
Yeah.
northeastern Pennsylvania and Scranton. And then I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, where I lived for actually 17 years, and I was on TV down there for about 13 of those years. And I'll tell you, going from a being kind of in the limelight, so to speak, to a private weather company, there's
Hmm.
pros and cons with everything when it comes to forecasting. Um, I'm not going to lie. You're on TV. You get the forecast wrong. No one's going to care. The weather guy's wrong. The weather girl's wrong.
But they
Yeah,
are yelling at you
they're
at their
yelling at you,
TV
or
at
you get the
home.
Facebook. You get the Facebook comments. Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking. But I'll tell you, you get the WeatherWorks, and we have, again, like you were talking about, customers and clients that are
Hmm.
really dependent upon when that rain's going to end, when that snow is going to start. They have a right to get that. You want to get that right as could be, because they're going to be a
Yeah,
little irate with you if you're off an hour or two. And again, same thing we talked about, man hours, wasted product, things like that. So
yeah,
it's such a different business, the private weather industry, versus, again, being
yeah.
on
So
television and things
I
like that.
think, I think what you're saying is basically it's the specificity. I'm trying to
Hmm.
get that word. The specificness that you need,
Sure.
in this private industry. When you were on TV, I'm sure that it wasn't, if
Right.
you were an hour off, like you're saying, maybe not be a big deal. But you know, yeah, I mean, in this industry, in the private industry, like you said, man, big
Yep.
change. And
And
hey, the good thing is, Brad, nobody's coming up to you every day and saying, "Hey, man, I don't like that tie. That's
Well,
terrible. Never wear that
well,
one
again,
again."
yeah, that's diving into the other side of the TV industry. I'll tell you, it's great to be on television. I love doing the weather on television. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of things that go on behind the
Mm,
television part that a lot of folks don't understand. I mean, we're talking about contracts, consultants.
hmm.
There's a lot of things that you don't really hear about in the TV industry. All you hear is, "Oh, that person's on television to make a lot of money to do the weather and get it wrong." No, it's not the case. I mean, it's not as easy as you think. You're
Yeah,
you're preparing your own graphics. You are live. You mess
yeah.
up, you can't go back and say, "Let's redo
That's what I
that."
was gonna say. Some people think there's a script or something you're reading, and
Not
there's
not
no
in
script,
weather.
right?
It's basically all ad lib, and you're pointing at a green screen, which is called a chroma key. And basically, the producer says, "You're on. You got 4 minutes to do the weather, and you
Hmm.
better get it back to the anchors before that 4 minutes is up, or else they're going to yell at you, for one, and
Yeah.
two, the sports guy is going to yell at you because they're going to get cut 30 seconds. So it's down to the second on TV. They don't like you going long. Obviously, if there's weather going on, you're at the second with severe weather and things
Well,
like that. But it's not as easy as, and it's cutthroat. I'll tell you, it's very tough. Once you get your foot in the door, that's fine. But you basically have to go where the job is available in TV weather, unless, of course, you've been there for like 25, 30 years and you're like a chief or things like that. But you get
yeah,
into that weather business out of college, you better be prepared to go out to Texas or North Dakota or Idaho to get that first job at a small market, and then kind of work
mm,
your way up.
yeah. And don't cut into their favorite TV show with a severe
Oh,
with a tornado warning.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a serious note too. I'll tell you, a lot of folks, if it's not impacting their house, but two towns over are getting wrecked by an EF3 tornado,
Yeah.
it's almost like they don't care. And get this off my TV. I want to go back to my show. And
Mm.
it's critical because, yeah, of course you got your phone, you got the alerts, but TV is still is a way to really get that info out, especially at that time of the day. Most of the time we're getting severe weather. It's 4 to 8, 9 p.m. Most people are home, and that's the only way you can get a hold of them a lot of times, and let them know that there's something bad going on in your town.
So let's back this up, Brad, all the way back. So were you one of those people who got started when you were a young kid in the weather? You were really interested in that sort of thing?
Yeah,
Were you
yeah,
waiting for that first snowflake like I was, or?
yeah. I was. I mean, I used to love the Weather Channel. I mean,
Yeah,
we talk about sometimes in the office, John Hope. You're going back to like some of the really early meteorologists on the Weather Channel, but that's really what got me started. I
yeah,
kind of like piloting too, and I was thinking like, oh, I can meteorology and piloting just go hand in hand, but
yeah,
they're both kind of tough. So I just focused on weather, and I was a weather enthusiast slash hobbyist, and
right.
then turned into just a weather,
Mm.
just everything weather. I used to make my own forecasts when I was in like fifth and sixth
I'm
grade and hand
There
them
you
out to the
go.
kids in school and tell my teacher when it was going to snow. And again, I think everyone's got those kinds of stories if you were into weather when you were younger.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to draw my own weather map on a
Hmm.
in a I had like state maps or something, and I'd have a state of Pennsylvania, which are where I'm from, so I would draw
Yep.
weather maps on it and that sort of thing. But it starts. A lot of people start when they're young like that in the weather field, and then they go on from there. I think you went to Millersville, right?
Yep. Yep. Graduated Millersville. Got accepted to
Hmm.
Penn State. I was living in Pennsylvania at the time. My parents wanted to keep me in state, but Penn State, they great school, obviously. I mean, never take anything away from Penn
I was
State.
gonna say, what are you trying to
No,
do?
no,
What are you
they just
trying?
they weren't
Because I
allowing me at
went
the
to Penn
time to.
State. So what are you
They
doing
weren't
to
going
me
to
here?
allow me to go to main campus though until I was a junior. They wanted
Ah,
me to
you
do
get
my
there.
yeah, they wanted me to do my like all my electives and all my general education stuff
Hmm.
early at a branch campus. And my parents like, well, you're not going to go here for 2 years and then go to main campus for 2 years. So I
Mm,
only other in-state school that meteorology is a major was Millersville, and I went there all 4 years. It was great.
yeah.
Small class sizes. I mean, when I got deep into meteorology, my junior, senior years, and we had maybe 5, 6 kids in our class. It was great. So again,
Wow.
Penn State's awesome. Millersville's still making a name for itself, but either way, you get the
Yeah,
education you need. You're a meteorologist. Of course, you went to Penn State, and you're
I
a Penn
did.
State
Yes.
alum, and it's a great meteorology school.
No, yeah, I loved Penn State. Penn State just won me over with that big school,
Mm-hmm.
mentality, Penn State football and all that kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
going on. And, it was just really won me over. Actually, the second school that I was going to go to was Millersville.
Oh,
So,
see that? You were just
um,
the opposite.
I, I visited Millersville and I visited Penn State, and for some reason the big school just got to me,
Yeah.
and it didn't really matter that I had to go for 2 years at a satellite campus before I
Mm-hmm.
went to the main campus to do the core of the meteorology work.
Right.
But I was just enamored by Penn State. I always been a Penn State fan, so going there and having that degree on the wall from there was just huge for me. And it's a lot of fun out there too. I can't deny.
No,
you know,
yeah.
there's a lot of good stuff to do, and especially the football games and things like that. Um, but um,
And
but
it's Penn State's well represented in our office as well as Rutgers. I guess I would say what
yeah,
60
mostly
to
Penn
70
State and
percent of
Rutgers, I'd
our
say.
meteorologists at WeatherWorks are either
Hmm.
from Rutgers or Penn State, and great colleges, great programs for meteorology. So
Yeah,
and it's
uh,
weird though. We all it's somehow along the way though we all learn the same thing, and maybe at different times in our lives, but it's just a common. And I'll tell you, when you got into meteorology, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be a meteorologist, and then you find out, wow, this is I got to take Calc 3. I got to take Physics
yes,
2. I got to take ordinary
yes.
differential equations. What is that?
Yeah, there is definitely more math and physics that
Hmm.
you would ever think. So, I know there's, a lot of people will give meteorologists a bad rap about, hey, they get it wrong, can still have their job. And, what's this guy talking about? He's guessing all the time. And, but look, I'm telling you,
Hmm.
so much goes into that degree with the math and
It
physics. I
does.
mean,
It
it,
does.
it, it actually like basically blew my mind. I mean, it almost got to a point where I was going to say, I don't know about this
Well, I was just going to
because
bring that up.
yeah.
I can tell you. I think when I was a freshman at Millersville, we started with maybe 15 to 20 meteorology majors that came
Hmm.
into college as a freshman. I think I graduated with 4 others. So
Right.
it kind of, yeah, it's not for everybody. It's,
No, but
it's a lot of work.
yeah, if you want to do it though, you just keep pushing through,
Hmm.
and you get through that math, and once you get to the fun stuff with the synoptic weather and
Yep.
mesoscale weather, and your forecasting, that's when it gets fun. you know.
Forecasting for the campus weather service, and I think almost every college has it. Whether you went
Hmm.
to Penn State or Millersville or Rutgers, I
Yeah.
used to forecast Saturday mornings. I felt like I think I was a sophomore then maybe, and I had my first little gig, if you will, with the weather campus weather station, and
Hmm.
I used to do Saturday mornings. Me and one other future meteorologist, and you feel like, wow, I'm actually doing a forecast here, and we
Yeah.
actually got paid too. That was a cool thing. I had a couple of bucks, but it was like, hey, I'm getting paid to do weather.
That sounds like it's illegal.
No,
Well,
it was a
anyway, though.
campus job.
Anyway, Brad, I had experience in the landscaping plowing. A lot of our WeatherWorks clients, but you were in the TV industry, but then you also were into golf too for a
Hmm.
long time. I still
Yeah,
are, sure.
yeah. I was actually a golf pro for a few years before. Actually, well, I did the weather, like I said, in Pennsylvania for a few years before I moved to South Carolina, and I actually went down there for golf first, and I was an assistant pro at a club for a couple of years. And then I started filling in at the local TV station, the CBS affiliate, which I eventually ended up working there full time for down the
Hmm.
road. But yeah, I was a golf pro. I'm still an avid golfer. I used to be a scratch golfer. I'm probably more like a 3 or 4 by now. I just don't play as often. But
Yeah, he
yeah,
just shoots these 70s like it's no big
nah,
deal, and then
I like to play golf,
and
but
I'm here like I'm trying to break 90.
golf's a
But
great, and golf's a great sport. It's probably one of the few sports you can play, until you're, late
yeah.
in your life. I mean, you can't play basketball when you're 60, 70 years old. You can try,
Yeah.
but golf's about the one sport. So I'm glad I used to play golf a lot, and again, I'll enjoy it now with my kids, and I'll be playing, as long as I can play. And you play golf. I played with you a few times. You can hit that rock out there pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad, but I think a lot of people don't, with golf, I mean, weather affects
Hmm.
how that ball flies too. I mean, more than I do, that weather is a huge in the golf industry of, basically how they're doing their courses and, how they're manicuring things. And, you know, I mean, this is what we're trying to do for you guys. We're trying to bring the weather to what you do in your life and your
Yep.
work and business too. So we're going to be able to relate all these things.
Yeah, sure.
Brad, I have a lot of experience in certain fields of construction. Brad has a lot of experience on TV and other things. So, we've been doing this a while, and
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's
Well,
finally time that we get this podcast off the
yeah.
ground. And
It won't
and
be a
and
boring podcast. I can guarantee you that. We'll even, the topics will be a lot of common topics that a lot of folks talk about, whether it's severe weather, tropics, again, but we can
Mhm.
go off on anything and talk about, these, topics here and there.
Mhm.
And again, we'll take, some, you know, folks that want to hear certain things too, let us know. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We'll have a schedule if we can, as much as we can. But also, if there is a higher impact event, weather event, we'll talk about that too. Forecast a big snowstorm. Everyone likes the big snowstorm. So
Mhm.
there's a blizzard maybe a couple days away, or I
Yep.
guarantee we'll do a podcast about it. So we just
We'll also
hope
get
that.
Yeah, we'll also get different perspectives too.
Mhm.
Like we were saying, we get somebody in from a town public works department or something, and they could talk how they deal with a big snowstorm.
Sure.
So certainly get different perspectives on things, not just the meteorologist view.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'd be great, and I think it'd be a great guest too, Brad. Is in the next couple episodes, I think we should bring in the CEO,
Oh,
Frank Lombardo. What do you
our
think of that?
employer.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people.
Yeah, I think he deserves his own podcast topic. I think we can squeeze him in somewhere along the way.
Yeah, we'll get him. I mean, a lot of people know him in New Jersey. He was on
Oh
radio
yeah,
for
yeah. WCTC.
years.
In fact, I grew up in Central Jersey. I grew up in Edison, and
Hmm.
before there was TV, school cancellations, we went to the radio. WCTC was the main one in New Brunswick, and they would cover
Hmm.
almost, all of north and central New Jersey and tell us, who has the delay. And I always remember that Edison always came after Dunellen. So if it went like Carteret, Dunellen, and then to an F city or something like that, I knew Edison didn't have a delay or a closing.
Yeah.
So, but that's how
Well,
it worked.
hey, you probably grew up then, or well, maybe you at least heard Frank on
Oh
the
yeah,
radio
I
at
remember
times.
Frank's name for sure. So,
I don't want to date Frank. Sorry, Frank. We're not
nah.
but anyway, but yeah, we definitely need to get him on the show, talk a little bit about how he even thought of making the WeatherWorks as a company, and how he
Hmm.
built it up from basically his basement to where we are now. I think it'd be a great show. We'll certainly get
Yeah,
that in there for sure.
absolutely.
um,
And
but
again,
hey,
we're always we're on social media everywhere.
mhm.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We got several blogs on our website, weatherworksinc.com. Anything else to add there, Mike?
I don't think so. Join us
All right.
back in maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for joining us in our first podcast here, and we look forward to doing several more, and even into the years to come. So, again, this is the Weather Lounge here at WeatherWorks, and we thank you so very much for joining us here on our first podcast. We'll see you soon.